Hey, it's your pal Mike Shea from Sly Flourish, here with another episode of Sly Flourish's Lazy D&D Prep. This is a weekly show shot 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Times on Twitch, in which I go through steps from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master while preparing for my Sunday D&D game. In this case, I am running a homebrew Eberron game called Eberron the Second Mourning. This show, like all of the work of Sly Flourish, is brought to you by the patrons of Sly Flourish. You too can help support Sly Flourish by going to patreon.com/SlyFlourish and becoming a patron. Patrons help pay for all of the various expenses that I need in order to keep the show going, in order to keep the website going, and a whole bunch of other odds and ends. I actually just spent a fair bit of time in the pre-show talking about some of the things I got, including this nice new chair with a headrest so I can lean back and pontificate. My old chair was not able to handle the full Sly Flourish experience. So thank you to patrons very much for your support. And let's get started. So I brought up my Eberron notebook. So let's bring that up. Once again, we are using Notion to handle my campaign notes. You can learn all about Notion in the show notes below. If you are on Twitch right now, you have a link for Notion. For those of you who are on Twitch, throughout this show, people will be asking about which software I am using to manage the campaign. It happens every time. When they do, type !Notion, no space, and it will post the link to Notion, and it'll post the link to the article in which I go through Notion. There's also a video. I don't know if I linked to it. Let's find out. Notion. I don't know. I need to put my video in here. So I also have a video that I shot a couple weeks ago. I shot a video a couple weeks ago. Notion for the Lazy DM. So this is a 30-minute. This is a 30-minute video with nice. I put in a nice table of contents in here so that you can see everything. 30-minute video where I go through Notion like crazy. So if you want to see that, you can see that. I'll post the link into Twitch, and I'll add it to the article. I really need to add it to the article because it really needs to be there. So anyway, we're using Notion. So where did things end in the last game? So last session, and if you remember the last show, we were doing point crawls. And I was using a program called graphviz.it. Graphviz.it, which generates network diagrams. Look at that big ass network diagram. And I was using it. Let's go back to old adventures. Pull up Sunday Eberron. I think. So we were doing it for the Glass Plateau. What the hell? Is this the right one? No, that's not the right one. It's June. Like Moorgrave University. What? There we go. Sunday Eberron. I should reverse those. And so in the Glass Plateau, So here was the map, and I was showing them. So what you can do is this little bit of text here. You can paste that in there, and I get a cool diagram of their journey across the Glass Plateau. It started at Karshak Station. They went to the Obsidian Spires and made their way, and then to the Pillar of Kirzan, which is one of the Daliker. And they could see that they could either go down the descending switchback to to eventually reach the Gates of Making, or they could actually take a subpath to the Mirrors. So this was a this is kind of a nice way to show their path. Now, this is actually part of a larger. If I go to the Glass Plateau page here, I made a page for the Glass Plateau that I have a lot of pictures that I dig. They're going to fight this thing today. We're going to talk about that. They're going to see this picture. I've got weather, locations, all kinds of images. This was my kind of bad point crawl diagram, although it's pretty. I don't know. It's a fine way to do it. And then this is the total point crawl of that I think we built last week. We'll stick that in GraphViz. And you can't see it real. I don't think I can make it. Yeah, this doesn't really work particularly well. So you can see all the different places that they could have gone, right? And so the idea was when I kind of built a whole bunch of different potential locations and then sort of networked them together to figure out what paths they could take to get through there. All paths, of course, end up leading to the Glass Army and the Gates of Making because those are kind of cool areas. But there's all sorts of like our Trades Gateway, the mirrors, and we talked about Jayquaying the point crawl so that there's loopbacks, there's secret passages, there's dead ends, there's kind of different ways to navigate through this whole site. So I was going to do it this past week, but I didn't get around to it. I got busy, and I'm probably going to shoot a video for YouTube showing how to do point crawl maps with GraphViz, because I think it's a pretty powerful tool. I've now used it for a few different locations, and I think it's pretty great. Hackerman says, do you think it would be possible to generate a random path generator so it would be easier for the DM to set up? Maybe. I don't think it's as hard as it seems. I think it's unfortunate that I did these already for the places that are coming up. And I did them before before I did the show. But really what I did is you just sort of think about what are all the possible locations that could be there? And then what are the connections between those locations? And I really do think that like a piece of paper and a pencil is a great way to do it. And then generating the text for this, like you can see that it's essentially like quoted name with a double dash, quoted name for the next place with a double dash, and then the quoted name. So you can sort of do like one path. Right, like if you just did this one path with the names and double dashes between them, what you'd get is a very narrow. This is one path, right? And then you can set up sort of a side path by adding in other things. So it's actually one of the reasons why I like GraphViz.it, this online GraphViz tool, is that I like any tool. And Notion, I feel the same way about Notion. Any tool that lets me focus on the creative part of the work and not get tied up with the tool's idiosyncrasies. Anything where the hard part is me thinking through the fiction is a great tool. And both Notion and GraphViz are with us. Owlbear the same way. Discord, right? Like Discord is out of the way and we're into the story. We're not a little bit with Avray. Avray can be pretty tweaky, but generally speaking, the tools are out of the way and we're in the world. And that to me, whether it's for prep or for play, the tools that are out of the way and focus on the fiction are the tools that I want to use. And GraphViz lets me do that. Like it's pretty easy for me to say like, okay, so after the crater, we're going to have, the pits of Set, right? And now I have like a little, very, very easy to add another location that's off of the crater. So now they have one path, but maybe that's a secret path. And there is some way, I forget how to do it, but there's some way to highlight it with a dotted line. I'll figure that out. When I do the video, I'll add in a dotted line. Maybe I might have that. Actually, let's take a look at Making, because I might have it in Making, because I did a more advanced one for Making. We're going to talk about Making today. And then I just create a little code block in Notion and paste it in there so I've got it. Yeah, so here, Making was really, the old tunnel. It's between the Silver Flame Spire and... So you do style dashed, right? Okay, pretty easy. So if we do... whoops, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? I don't know why that didn't work. Does it have to be in brackets? Hey, there it goes. A little bit of tweaking. So style dash gives you a dash one. So if you're building out your point crawl map and you do style dash dash style equals dashed, that could be like a hidden path, right? So I think that I think that there's a lot of neat ways, but the thing I like about it is, and what's really cool is then I can click on here and I can save it as a ping, and now I've got an image, right? Oh, that didn't work. Let's go open, show in a folder. Oh, I lost it. It's here somewhere. Downloads, graph is. It keeps opening it up in the show in folder. Grr, Google. Graph is. Right? So now I've got an image, right? And I can throw that image anywhere. You could even throw it into like Owlbear and use the Fog of War to hide the other areas and then sort of expand out what they can see as you go. So there's a few different ways to use this, I think. Kind of neat stuff. Anyway, so the characters were making their way through. They were making their way through the glass plateau. Oh boy, I'm clicking on wrong things. So we'll go to old adventures. We're going to go to last week's adventure because I'm going to want to copy and paste that point crawl map over because that showed where they last were. Yeah, we're going to grab that. And actually, can I copy this whole block here? Copy. Is there a way to copy the whole thing? I guess we'll just copy the whole thing. Let's start by making a new campaign. So we're going to Eberron, and we're going to generate a session planning template. It's not really what it's called, is it? And this is going to be 20 December 2020, Sunday, Eberron. All right. Good. So, and what I'm going to do is down here, I think below, we're going to, above the scraps pad, we're going to say point crawl. And we're going to type code and paste the point crawl map in there. And we're going to grab that and we're going to stick that in the graph is. And we're going to save that to a ping. And we're going to go back in here and we're going to add a thing below it. Image. Choose an image. Downloads. Graph is. So now I've got the point crawl text of their current location and the graph viz picture in there. So so that's just keeping that handy for me, right? I want to have that in. I know I'm going to be using that in my next one because I know where they start. I also highlighted in red where the I highlighted in red where the sorry, I got distracted by my own thing because I think whoops, what did I just do? Oh, never mind. I want to highlight in red where they showed up, where they currently are, so that they can see while they're like going through the point crawl. One thing I did that was different last session is that I showed them where they were in the point crawl. So what happened? So they arrived at the glass plateau. The doors opened. They met. So yeah, I think the last session it was a great. Oh man, see, so I'm so caught up in point crawl nonsense that I'm not even talking about like the best part. So my Senta's docent was broken. I think I had like one of the most emotionally connected, one of the most emotionally charged scenes in this whole campaign. And it was Chi destroying her father's memory crystal. So they had my Senta's docent and it was broken. They have another docent which was inside Banner's head. And they realized that Chi was going to have to fix the docent and get my Senta's docent fixed so that they could combine it with Crash or with Karshak. And so, but in order to fix it, she realized she was going to have to use Banner's docent. And if she pulled out her father's memory crystal from Banner's docent, it was going to destroy it, and her father was going to be killed. Or her father's already dead, but her father's memory was going to be destroyed. And her father said, Chi, I need to talk to you. I'm dead, and the thing you're talking to isn't even my soul. It is a copy of my memories that Lord Crash, had embedded on this crystal so that he could question me. But I'm not real, and my soul is not at rest. So I am happy to continue to serve you if you need. But if you need, don't keep me around just for the sake of keeping me around. And she said, okay. And she said, we're gonna do that. Like, we're gonna use the docent, and I'm gonna do it. And then she said, Banner, can you take out your docent? And before Banner did, Chi's father, Haroon, said, I love you, daughter. And then Banner took out the crystal, and she poked it, and it shattered, and a little mist kind of flowed off. And she put the other crystal in, my Sentis crystal, and Chi went into Karshak's brain car, the second car of the giant of, not Karshak, of Karshak's train. So Karshak is a huge sentient Warforged train, many cars. The first car is a huge manifest zone gateway portal that to a crazy plane of power that draws energy out and feeds into the rest of the engine, the rest of the train, and propels it at the speed of sound. And the second car is where Karshak's own brain is stored. And so she went in there and saw that there were 3 docents, one of which is broken and one of which was active. And she put the third docent in, and a voice said, "Can you stay with me? I'm scared." And she's like, "Yeah." And everyone's like, "Is this like Hal from 2001?" And I was like, Daisy. And so she stayed there the night, and there was all this talk, and like things are happening, and the voice is changing, and then a voice came up and said, "It's done, and I want to thank you for being with me. It was a scary time." And she realized that, it was like Little Blaine, and Snark Knight knows Wastelands. So the new person is Valis. Valis is the new personality inside the massive train of Karshak, and so Valis said is sort of a mixture of both Mycenta and Karshak, so it's not totally. And Valis said, "I will help you stop the Second Mourning." So Valis then they kind of prepared themselves. They got ready. They went to the Glass Plateau. It opened up. They saw the wastelands of the Glass Plateau. They had 3 paths that they could take. This got down, and they had the Road of Fallen Iron that they go to, the Obsidian Spires that they go to, the Plane of Glass. They said, we want to go through the Obsidian Spires, which is cool because my other group did the Plane of Glass. They wove their way through the Plane of Spires. They got to the Pillar of Curzon, which is one of the Daliker, I think. And they fought some creatures there. I don't remember what it was, but it was pretty hard. It's kind of funny that I don't remember even what they fought. But they fought something there. They had a big fight. It was really hard. They got through it, and they're making their way. And what they saw was at the Pillar of Curzon, they see that there's a descending switchback that can take them down to the Glass Army. And then eventually to the gates, or they can actually cut across and go to the mirrors, which is the section out to the Plane of Glass. And that can sort of make the way. So they have a couple, what we're doing is sort of, there's a couple different paths that they can take here. So those other paths, for example, the mirrors can go to the Glass Army. And what did we say it was? Style equals dashed. So the pillar of Curzon to the mirrors is a kind of a secret path. Mirrors to the Glass Army is another one. Pillars. I think I already have the switchback path, right? The descending switchback. So let's see. The descending switchback also goes to the Glass Army. And the Glass Army goes to the Gates of Making. let's see what that looks like in GraphViz. So yeah, so now we've got kind of a cool. Let's see, the thing to the shattered gateway is also a dashed line. Let's go back in here. So we will drop this. And the mirrors goes to the shattered gateway. And we do style equals dashed. Try that. Yeah, so now we got secret paths, right? Car Shack Station, Plane of Glass, the mirrors, the Glass Army. But there's also Pillar of Curzon has a switchback path that can lead down to the mirrors. The mirrors also has can also lead off to the shattered gateway. So there's, kind of there's loop backs and there's secret paths and there's, all sorts of different kind of options here. So I think that's cool. And I think that that's sort of the path that gives them a couple of options about where they can go. And yet still will get them to the gates of making certainly today. And then they'll probably have to make some choices about the gates of making too. We're going to save that ping and we're going to upload. We're going to remove this, delete, and we're going to, am I on the right? No, I'm on the wrong notes. Don't do that. I'm in the wrong notes. Oh my God. Close that. Go here. Paste that. We'll delete that. Delete. And then we will upload. Choose an image and put up the new one. So there we go. So now I've got like a cool path about where they are, where they're headed, what the little secret passages are, interesting loop backs, all kinds of things, right? All very cool. I'm using that GraphViz stuff. So a strong start. It's probably time for some weather, right? Like there's strong starts can be. There's some good Twitter conversation about like what makes a strong start. And I tend to always like, hey, a fight, monsters, because monsters are always easy to do. But you can do other situations too. And I think weather might be cool. Well, I got two ideas. So a beam of light piercing into the sky, which is showing that like things are happening at making. Things are happening at making. But then let's throw some weather because I went through the trouble. Fantastic location we have glass plateau and making. And in our fantastic locations for making, we have, so this is like the beam of light that they're going to see, right? Like that's a cool image. But we have weather, and I think it'll be fun to roll a random, to roll some random weather. So we're gonna have some random weather. Yeah, very Chernobyl. Yeah, so making and in particular Claw Rift I'm basing directly on Chernobyl. So I think that will. Have I rolled any mirror zone effects? I have. I did, and I don't remember how they went, but they went well. The mirror zone stuff works, and I'm gonna do it again. Crazy things happen. I can't remember what happened. Damn it. I mean, it was fun. Whatever it was a good time. So yeah, it's interesting to me. One kind of interesting thing that I've noticed is that like I'm relying a lot on the fantastic location pages to kind of fill in the locations. I have a feeling that I am a very location based DM, and there's probably different kinds if you think about it. That. I think the DMG even talks about sort of like story versus location DMs. And I think I like being a location DM because you sort of let the situation arrive. But what it means is I put a lot of weight on the locations and I'll put like a lot of information in a location, and it works really well for me. So like, having all these images of the glass plateau, really is pretty cool. Let's see, we can kill that. And we're going to bring up another window. Whoops. No, not D&D Beyond. Notion. So yeah, it means that like you can see that my location pages are filled with stuff, and I reuse it a lot, right? Like I use it week to week, so it's kind of a good efficient way to sort of keep my notes together. Is I type Glass Plateau and making, and I've got places for both of these, right? I got lots of, I've got pictures and I've got, locations. I've got a map. I think I have a point. Look at this point crawl that I built, right? Great big point crawl of that. So, let's open that out so we can take a look at making for a minute. So making, I have the gates of making, right? And actually, I need to. We're gonna change this because there's another connection point. I have no idea what this is going to do because this is a great big graph. Come on. Whoa, look at that one. I guess it randomly. Whoops. What did I do? Son of a gun. Let's try that again. Copy. Paste. Yeah, so the runoff. So we'll have a connection between the gates of making and the runoff. Oh, that did some weird stuff. Yeah, that's kind of cool. That kind of works, I think. Let's take a look at that. So what I'm doing is essentially saying, and we can get rid of entry here, because I know it's an entry, and I'll just save a little. Cleaning up my point crawl map here. Yeah, so I think that all is still working. So we will save that to store to SVG and paste that there. And we will delete this map of making. And we will add a new map of making. And we'll upload, and we will go, and we got, oh, is it going to do SVG? Will it display SVG? It does. However, I really can't do SVG because I know that SVG is not supported by Discord. So we're going to delete that one. And we're going to put an image. And we will, there we go. Right. And then we'll take a look at that. So boy, not a lot of margin. So what we have is the gates of making is where the Glass Plateau comes into the gates of making. They can see that there's this main road that goes into the city called the Road of Triumph, but there's also this like secret path that can take them to a place called the Runoff. So right off the bat, they have kind of a couple different directions they can go. Then the Runoff takes them to the wreck of a starship. There's this thing called Blackwater Way, which is like a nasty river that goes through. Hey, Think DM is here. Hi, welcome. So the neat thing about Blackwater Way and actually the Scorched Trench, I could just keep playing with this thing all day by putting dash lines. Like the Scorched Trench is I guess it's not a secret path. So they have the kind of different ways they could get there, right? And so this makes this whole, one of the things I did is I labeled the edges. So the Road of Triumph, Massive Footsteps, Road of Fallen Blades, Road of Dead Machines, Scorched Trench, Blackwater Way. So this is probably a more advanced point crawl map, but I think it's a good one, and it kind of really builds out the whole city and all the different paths they can take and all the different things that they can run into there. And I tried to use evocative names for both the what I refer to as the nodes and the edges, right? The locations and the paths, and I can sort of build off of each of those. So it's a nice big city map. What else? I can close all those, I think. I'll keep that. I have a feeling that'll be handy. So I had to point to all this. Oops. So weather. I want to throw some weather. Nasty weather. And in my glass plateau thing, I also have like 10. I think I have some encounters, right? So I can sort of roll on. I can roll on this list here. I have 11. Which one will I get rid of? I think we'll get rid of that one. There, now I got 10. I have a D10 list. Yeah, so I can roll some random encounters. And so it's really fun. When we talk about preparing to improvise, I could roll on my encounter list now. I could roll weather. Like let's do it just for funsies. Let me get my dice out here. And let's roll some weather as a D12. Boop. 6. Radiant Storm. That's pretty cool. I don't know what that means, but it's pretty cool. And then I'll roll a D10 for an encounter. 5. Audacious Destroyers from the from Beasts of Flesh and Steel. Let's look at that. Let's look up Beasts of Flesh and Steel here. So Beasts of Flesh and Steel is a book by Monty Cook Games for 5th edition D&D that has Numenera monsters in it. It's really cool. It's a good book. And I've really enjoyed throwing monsters from this book into my Eberron game because they're totally crazy and unique. They also hit like freight trains, which is awesome. What monster did I say it was? Audacious. Is that even a name? Come on, where's the table of contents? I guess it's down under E. Audacious Destroyer. I don't think there's even a name. Oh, there it is. Look at that thing. First glance, Audacious Destroyers seem little more than enormous predatory scavengers, omnivores. They have intensely acidic stomachs that allow them to devour anything they come across or beyond their needs to eat. They appear somewhat intelligent creatures, do almost anything in exchange for large amounts of food. Well-fed Audacious Destroyers grow up to be 50 feet tall. They reproduce asexually, hunt by scent, dangerous sprouts. So GR 13. So they might see one of these things. They're about to fight something big. So that's not a great one, right? I already don't like it, even though my whole point was that I'm not going to roll. But I don't like the Audacious Destroyer. 6. Uradal Shepherds and Explorer Thralls. That sounds cool. Urdal. What the hell is that? Look almost like floating trees in which many decorations are hung up close. Communicate telepathically. So it looks like it's got like pieces of sort of a flying tree that has like the helms and skulls of fallen members of the fallen members of the last war, the battle that took place here. Would be pretty cool. It's sort of floating around. It'd be kind of a fun monster, right? Hits hard. Psychic fields. Pretty neat. Ancient survivors. So my point is, like, I could figure all that out now. Like the Radiant Storm with one of these guys floating in would be kind of an interesting, and like, what the hell is that? But it's almost more fun to roll during the game and see what comes up and then make it true. So, yeah. So I like sort of mixing. I've been referring to this recently, sort of like cooking at the table, that you sort of have these bowls of all of your ingredients and you sort of grab from the bowls and then make your food while you're dining, right? And instead of sort of like a hibachi, instead of kind of preparing everything ahead of time, the things we prepare are like the lists of locations, the lists of potential monsters, the secrets and clues. You kind of, each of these are like your sections, and then you build the game from what you've got, and it kind of works. And while you're writing these lists, you get these ideas. Like I might bring this guy in because it's easy, because now I have an idea and I've read it and I have an idea, you know, I know what I would do. But it's different, I think, than a lot of people think about their adventures. I think everybody kind of thinks that they start with the scenes, right? And so, you know, I'm going to delete scenes today. I'm not going to worry about scenes. Look at that. Look at me breaking the law. But let's look at our characters. We're 35 minutes in and we haven't even looked at our characters yet. So I have a new trick for characters. I created, and I'm going to go do this in the template. I don't think I've done it in the template yet. But for the character, I know why. It's because I don't necessarily have groups. I don't have separate groups of characters for the same campaign. I have separate groups for the same campaign. I don't think most people do. So if we go back, like I'll show you how I did it. If we go back to the lazy campaign template, this lazy campaign template is available to everybody. So you can use it right now. It's in the notes. So in characters, we're going to have a couple views. So we have the table view and the gallery view, right? And I think that works fine. So what I did is I created in my Eberron one, I now have 4 views. So I go to characters and I have the Wednesday table view, the Wednesday gallery, the Sunday table, and Sunday gallery. And we're going to go to the Sunday gallery. So for the Sunday gallery, this is the Sunday characters. I have Zarantir de Lander, house member of de Lander. And I think one of the secrets that we will, one of the reasons that we review the characters is so you can drop in secrets that make sense for a character. And one of the secrets is that 2 House Larendar airships crashed in making and the glass. And the names of those airships are the Sky Dancer, and then we got to look at Glass Plateau. Eberron campaign database. We'll go to locations. Glass Plateau. And look at the map for that. The Wave Crest. So that's that, and it's possible. Zarantir knows these ships, right? He knows that these ships exist. Maybe we could tie. There's Darger says, "Do you ever use Espergenesis monsters or tech?" I have not. I have Espergenesis. I haven't looked at it tightly enough to drop it in, but it sounds like it could work. So Zarantir de Lander, member of House de Lander, Storm Cleric, Storm Sorcerer, Storm everything, Storm Marked, likes to do things with storms. Probably can tell that Radiant Storm is a bad thing. Saber is a shifter, Monk of the Four Winds. Is there any interesting hook for Saber in this one? Probably a lot of the hunting instincts can help in this particular area. Shift. I think Shift had a major... so Shift had a major thing too. Shift told the players about her lost day. So if you recall a few sessions ago, she told the other characters. Shift told the characters, hey, I was actually designed to be a sleeper agent for the nation of Karnath to be activated by Lady Elmaro, who is my patron, my pact, I'm drawing energy from Lady Elmaro. But she doesn't have control over me. She wants me to grab the weapon and give it to her, and I have no plans to do that. And Crash, who's inside Shift's head, said nothing. Shift still thinks that the arc for Crash may be finding a Warforged body to put him in so that he can be separated once again. So that's kind of an interesting... That happened. Is there any other Shift secrets that we could drop in? Shifts had a lot. I don't think so. I don't think we got. Shane Husk, notable author, wrote about the Day of Mourning and about the Last War, and is here to experience the next big thing. And do they have any secrets? Does he have any secrets here? I can't think of any. Banner. Banner is a follower of the Becoming God and Warforged Paladin, and probably recognizes some of some of Banner's original unit fought and died in the Glass Plateau outside of making during the morning. And we have Arwen Chi Sizu, member of House Civis, or a latent dragon-marked member of House Civis, who has brought the characters and through their docent and everything, through all this connection, now has brought them to the gates of making. So I don't have a lot of, there's not a lot of secrets that are jumping right out at me for this. So instead, we have other kinds of secrets. So what are some secrets and clues? So we have a couple already, but we want to have about 8 more. The souls of the dead some souls of the dead. Some souls of the dead still remain trapped in their bodies in the wastelands of the Glass Plateau. The daughters of Sorakel have teleported a citadel, temple really, atop an earth moat above making. They have an army of trolls, giants, any other trolls and giants? What other? Oh, and Medusa. And Medusa overseers preparing Claw Rift and fighting off other groups in making. A lost, soldiers of the Silver Flame fight on multiple fronts in making. They have a spire. Their headquarters is a spire on the eastern side of the city. That was once an airship dock. What other secrets? The Lord of Blades, agents of the Lord of Blades. They're really agents? What is he saying? Sure. Agents of the Lord of Blades. Hopes to steal the weapon of making as it's built from whoever plans to build it. What else do we have? The daughters have surrounded Claw Rift with a massive prismatic sphere A massive prismatic sphere. Secret tunnels. Secret tunnels lead from the spire of Silver Flame to the laboratory of Kenneth, to the shattered laboratory. The shattered laboratory of Kenneth. So many secrets. A lot of these I already know because I've run this whole section for my other group. So I'm cannibalizing old secrets from the game I ran last Wednesday. The shattered of Kenneth was where the weapon, where the components of the weapon of the original weapon were kept. Supposedly, there is a secret gateway between the lab and Claw Rift. I have so many secrets. I mean, this is really all the secrets that remain for the game. So 4, so that's 9. 2 of the daughters have gone into Claw Rift. The 3rd stays in the temple, in the Drom Temple, and holds a key to enter the prismatic wall. The agents of the Lord of Blades are working on something to burrow into Claw Rift. A massive Warforged machine. So there's essentially what's going on is like Claw Rift itself. Almost all of these secrets are in making itself, because I think today's thing is going to be getting to making, and then they're going to learn about making. And the thing about making is we have a central area. The end game dungeon, if you will, is Claw Rift. Claw Rift is a ruin. Claw Rift is Chernobyl. Claw Rift is a ruin in the middle of the city where the original weapon went off and it destroyed everything, right? And it's this crazy wild magic place. It's very deep. They have to go deep down into it. You know, it's hundreds and hundreds of feet below the surface, and it's now a huge gaping hole. And like, there's this beam of light that's just pouring, energy just pouring right out of it. So if you try to go in through the hole directly, you'll just get burned up and die. So you have to kind of come at it from the sides. The daughters wrap the whole thing in a giant prismatic wall, so that they can prep their weapon and do everything that they need to do. And there's only 3 ways to get in through the prismatic wall. One is you get the key from the remaining daughter of Sorakal, who's holding the key at the temple, at the Droam temple atop an earth moat. So you get up to the earth moat, crawl through that, find her, get the key. The key is probably a wand of wonder that if you fire it, will fire all of the beams that are required to break down the prismatic wall for a short time. And each of the daughters has a key, but they're the only ones that do. You have the other way in is that there is a portal between the ruined temple of Kenneth, or the ruined laboratory, the shattered laboratory of Kenneth, is where the weapon was originally, the components of the original weapon were kept, and they used a teleporting gateway to move the components from the temple, from the laboratory into Claw Rift. And that gate is still there if you activate it. My other group chose that path. Third is Agents of the Lord of Blades are working on some way to get into Claw Rift themselves. It's probably like a giant Warforged purple worm that they created or built or recovered that is burrowing its way through the walls. And if they follow that path, they can get into Claw Rift, but they'll have to sort of get control of it and fight Lord of Blades members. So they have 3 different ways they can go. So they have a bunch of places they can explore in making, and 3 different paths that can get them into the end game. They have to kind of choose which one of those paths they're going to take in order to get in. But that way they've got lots of options, right? They can make choices. So So I think that's pretty cool. I think my secrets and clues are pretty solid. So I got my strong starts. I got my secrets and clues. I got my fantastic locations, glass plateau and making. NPCs. So I have some NPCs already built. I have one in particular that I already like, that they'll probably run into, which is, why aren't these don't appear to be in order. Is there a way to sort these? Yeah, they have an edited time. Let me drag this out and see if I probably just ruined everything, didn't I? Oh no. Causing problems. There we go. So the problem is I can't quite reach that other thing. I guess I have to scroll over. Sort. Add a sort. Sort by last edited, descending. Bang. There we go. That's what I wanted. Did that not work? Last edited, descending. Lance Commander Severa. Lance Commander Severa is a commander of the Silver Flame. Look at that. That's an awesome picture in it. She's a commander of the Silver Flame, the elite squad that was intended to stop the Mourning and failed. They've been trapped in Groundhog Day, so every day is the same for them since the war. They think the war just happened. They think that the event of the Mourning just happened, and they're still fighting the good fight. So that is a potential NPC. I lost track of everything. I don't know if I need any other. I don't think I need any other NPCs right now. I'm pretty good. And monsters are all covered in the locations because I have my lists of monsters in the locations. Like if you go to making, I have encounters in making. Lord of Blades Murder Squad, War Trolls of the Drum, Raging War Machine, Living Spell, Crusaders of the Silver Flame, or Mutated Hooded Wanderers. So that can work pretty well, I think. I don't really, so I don't really need monsters. So I got NPCs and treasure. I'll probably have some from Arcana of the Ancients. I'll probably have some ciphers. But I will take some time to, let's see if I can get rid of my Wednesday section here because this is the Sunday group. And what I will do, though, for treasure is we're going to take a look back at the characters again. We're going to go to my Sunday table view. And we're going to take a look at their D&D Beyond sheets and see, hey, audience at home, if you want to, I think on the Twitch chat, you can actually see the characters. If you want to take a look at I don't know if it can actually show you the full character sheets. If it can, you can take a look and say, is anybody in need of a magic item who doesn't really have one? So this is Chi. There was one tool I really want to give to Chi. I don't know the ideal time. Probably not now. But there's a new tool from Tasha's. A new magic item from Tasha's. And it was the all-purpose tool. So I think the all-purpose tool would be a cool one. So I definitely want to, eventually I want to drop one of those in. So I'll put that in here. I don't, I can't think of a time when that's really gonna work out. But we'll see. So let's take a look at the other characters. So that would be for Chi. Who is this? This is Banner. I think Banner's pretty set. AC 22. He doesn't need more armor, that's for sure. And equipment. I think he's got multiple magic weapons. He has the Docent, the Retaliation Implant, which I think he just got. And he has Lightbringer and Nightbringer. 2 weapons that both blind. So he's good on magic items. He's wearing full plate armor and a mithril chain shield. So yeah, he's good on magic items. He doesn't need more magic items. I think so. Saber doesn't use D&D Beyond, and I think he's all set. He just got some new item too. So I think he's good. Shane Husk. Let's take a look at his equipment. Has Lack, but that doesn't really count. Has Elven Chain and Ring of Protection. Could probably a Wand of the War Mage would not be out of hand, I don't think. Revenant Double-Bladed Scimitar. Forget where you got that from. But a Wand of the War Mage isn't bad. So we'll throw, put that under treasure too. And let's take a look. We have Shift. Shift has but recently got the Rod of the Pack Keeper. Shift's AC is terrible. So probably could use some armor. What would be good armor for Warforged? Or for a Warlock? I mean, there's always this like boost up the person who needs it the most. Bracers of armor are pretty good, right? Beyond bracers of armor. Bracers of defense. +2 bonus to AC if you're wearing no armor and using no shield. I think that would help her. Oh no, she's wearing studded leather, so that doesn't help her. She does get hit in combat. Everybody gets hit in combat. I think a +2 wouldn't be bad. +2 studded leather armor with some kind of flavor to it. Would be kind of neat. Let's generate some flavor. So let's go. What you can do is I'm just gonna use my relic generator. And we can kind of look at like what it does. Ooh, that's really cool. Kyber +2 studded leather armor from Kyber that casts mirror image. It can cast mirror image once a day. Boy, that'd be really good. That's not bad. And Zarentir has a fine AC. And has a Sentinel Shield. Wand of the War Mage. Already has a Wand of the War Mage, huh? Wears a breastplate. Having the 2 levels of cleric lets him wear armor. So I think he's okay. He's got 2 wands. I think I put a Wand of the War Mage out and he took it and it was actually supposed to go to so maybe Wand of the War Mage isn't a good one because I threw one out before. A rapier, a magical rapier would be pretty good. Let's take a look at let's see. A fun, I always like to throw a spell on a I kind of like this Rave Enfeeblement. So Dolara I don't know who Dolara is. But +2 rapier that inflicts the equivalent of a ray of enfeeblement once a day. You can choose to, you hit him with it, and instead of the spell attack, you're hitting him with a weapon, and it enfeebles him. Is that going to screw me later? Our boss monster is going to get enfeebled? Probably. But it's already a second level. It's a second level spell. Black Beam, make range attack. Target only does half damage with weapon attacks that use strength until the spell ends. At the end of each of the turns, you can make a con save against the spell. We could do a lower DC for it. So who would have made an enfeebling rapier? Is there any interesting Eberron group that would have made an enfeebling rapier? Kind of drains life out of them. I don't know. A Karnath would probably have something like that. That's pretty good. So there's a couple of magic items for people. I think it'd be pretty cool. So we have hit our time. I feel pretty good about what I've got going on here. I've got my fun point crawls. I've got some treasure. I've got some cool locations. I've got lots of secrets. I've got my strong start. So I think we are all set. So there is one, I'm gonna just real quickly, one scene that I'm gonna describe. Remember, I got rid of scenes and now I want it back. But one of these locations, the Glass Army. So all roads kind of lead to the Glass Army. And at the Glass Army, it's essentially a huge field with soldiers of multiple nations, Warforged and nations of Sire, or armies, soldiers of Sire and soldiers of Karnath, like ghoul soldiers of Karnath. And they're all fighting, and they're all looking towards making, and they're all frozen and turned into glass, right? Whatever wave of terror kind of roared out, just turned them all to glass, like Pompeii. And they're all frozen that way. And there's two huge cadaver collectors, which I'm just calling the collectors because cadavers, So two cadaver collectors are walking around, studying them, and then plucking up any of them that still have like a life, any kind of life energy you saw, and then eating them. And there's specters swirling around of them, and they can breathe specters. And they can do it more often than it says there. So really cool. And like, they'll have to try to get around these guys if they're going to make their way to the gates of making a fun situation. So I'm excited about that. So I'm going to put the cadaver collector in my monster list. Go back to, did I get rid of monsters? I got rid of monsters. So we're going to put monsters back. Because that's an encounter I definitely want to run. I've run it before. The collectors. Bang. Yeah, so now that's an encounter I'm excited to run. It's going to be a fun one. Kind of another situation. How do you want to get around the collectors? Like, what do you do to try to avoid them? The collectors in the armies of glass. Lots of opportunity for using the mirror zone effects too. So we are all set. I've got a game ready to go. I've got a yeah. I think everything is good. So we're going to call it a day. I want to thank everybody for coming today. Always a pleasure to have everybody hanging out in Twitch chat with me. Always. Oh, did my microphone go out? Did my mic fail? All right, I thought my mic went out because for some reason my something happened. Weird. Okay, I guess we're all good. Great. So I want to thank everybody for coming and have a great week. And I'll see you next week, and we'll talk about what happened. So have a great week. Talk to you guys later. Get out there and play some D&D.